we will be learning about variables and values. Okay, so let's get into it. So first of all, let's comment this annoying alert window, and in this lecture I'll be taking examples of an employee, its profession and its salary, etc. Okay, so let's see what is a value. Value is just a smallest piece of data that we use in programming. Okay, so it is just a smallest piece of unit of information that we use in programming. Okay, so for example, this name, this is a value because it is a piece of information, the smallest piece of data. Okay, and this 24 is also a value. To see this, let's use console log. Okay, let's refresh. So now you can see the values are coming into the console from line number 7 in script.js. This is which is this line, and the other value is coming from line number 9, which is this one. So we can log different type of values in the console, and as you can see, these are also the small values like 57, 20, 30, and 12, and in between there are some arithmetic operations which are used to form a single value out of this. Okay, which you can see here, and it is also coming from line number 11, which is this line. Okay, so value is nothing but it is just a small piece of data or information, you can say, which we use in programming. Okay, and there is another best use of values is to store them in some variables. So let's see what is a variable. So now let employee name equals to Raunak. So here what we did, we have declared a variable using this variable declaration, and we have stored a value in that particular variable using this assignment operator. Okay, so you don't have to worry about this variable declaration and assignment operator for now. Just focus on the variable and the value. We are storing a value in a variable. Okay, in simple words. So variable, you can consider it as a container which we use to store things into it. Okay, so in real world example, in in containers we used to store some stuff into it, so it can hold multiple things or it can hold a single thing. So variable is the same thing, acting as a container here in our programming world. Okay, and why we are using variable instead of values directly, so let me show you the use case of variables as well. So for example, if you want to write this name at multiple places, let's see. Console.log, and here we are writing our name. Okay, if you refresh it, it is coming from line number 15, that is this, and let's console log multiple times. Okay, So here what we did, we have wrote value multiple times in the console log, and in future if you want to change the value to something else, for example Raunak Srivastava, then you need to change it everywhere. Otherwise you will see the place, the change value only where you have changed manually. And if you want to change it everywhere without doing all these things manually, we use variable. So instead of using values directly, let's use variable and see what happens. So here instead of using the values directly, we are using this variable name. Okay, so let's refresh it again. We are getting all the values just by using these variable names, because this variable will be replaced by the actual value which is stored in that variable. I'm repeating it again. So whatever value is stored in a particular variable, if you console log it or if you use it anywhere, it will be replaced by its actual value. So now if we change the value to Raunak Srivastava, then if I refresh it, then you can see it is changed everywhere. We don't have to manually go and change for all these 4 lines. Okay, so this is one of the important and basic use case of variable. With the help of this, we can write the value, we can store the value only once, and we can use it in multiple places. And in case if we want to change it, then we only have to change it at one place, and that change will be reflected everywhere. Okay, so it cannot be just one value which we can store. We can store multiple things. For example, let profession equals to coder, salary equals to, say, salary equals to 87,000. Okay, so all these things we can log in console. And one of the important things about variables is that you should name the variable so that you can easily understand what type of value it is holding. Okay, so for example, let's take an example. Let profession 1 order profession 2. So these two variables, as you guys can see, are not telling more than just profession. We can only understand like they are holding some kind of profession in them. Okay, and on the other hand, let me write two variables. So this way we have a better understanding like which variable is holding what value. For example, you guys can easily see like my previous profession was a coder, my current profession is a teacher. So you should name your variables to easily understand what kind of values they are holding. Okay, and as you can see, I have used a naming convention, and this naming convention is called camel casing. Okay, so it's nothing but just a standard in JavaScript which we use. So to write camel case, what we need to do is we just need to write the first letter in lowercase and the subsequent words in uppercase. Let me show an example. For example, if you are writing name, then it will be in small case, and if it has some subsequent words, for example first name, then the subsequent words will be in uppercase. First name, so here another subsequent word, this will also be in uppercase. So snake casing will be the first word will be starting with the lower case and the subsequent words will be starting with the uppercase. Okay, so we have some other conventions as well. For example, snake casing. Here you can see we are using underscore after every new word coming into the variable. Okay, so first underscore name underscore person, so it makes it easy for a person to read the variable. So let's see another example. So if you write first name person, then it will be a little bit difficult for you to read it at one go. Alright, so for this only we use either snake casing or the camel casing to make it human readable. Okay, and it is throwing error because we have used the same name twice. We cannot declare a same variable more than once. Okay, if you refresh it, then you can see this directly in console. And if you have noticed one thing, I haven't console logged this error, but still we are getting this error in console automatically. This is because whenever you do any mistake or any error occurs in the code, it will end up in your console automatically. Okay, so it is good for you guys to start reading the errors from the starting itself. So as you can see, it is an syntax error. Identifier first name person has already been declared at line number 26 script.js, which is this line. So here we have declared a variable which is already declared above. So if we make it first name, then if I refresh it, then you can see our code is running again. Okay, so there are some restrictions also in creating a variable. For example, you cannot use numbers in the beginning of the variable. For example, 34 name. So in VS Code itself it started giving the error, and let's see what error we are getting in console. Here again we are getting syntax error. It is invalid or unexpected token coming from script.js line number 28. Okay, which is this line. So we cannot use numbers or any special characters, but we can use underscore instead. Okay, it will work with the underscore perfectly fine. See, okay, and we can also not use any special characters in between the variable. For example, first percent name. So again we started getting an error here, and this is again a syntax error, unexpected token percentage. And in VS Code also it is giving us an error, and if you hover it, then here also you can see the error. Okay, so all you can use is a dollar sign and underscore in between the variables. Okay, and one more thing we cannot do in JavaScript is we cannot use a reserved keyword as a variable. For example, we have few reserved keywords. Let's take function. See, it is a reserved keyword in JavaScript, so we cannot use it as a variable. Okay, if we refresh it, then here we can see unexpected token function at line number 28. Okay, and one last thing I wanted to tell you, like we have another reserved keyword that is name, but it is legal to use the name variable in JavaScript, but I would not recommend to use any reserved keyword because it may create issues later. Okay, so let me show you the example first. It will be a working one. See, we have used a reserved keyword which is name, and it is still working fine. It is not giving any error, but you should not use it like this. Instead, you should use an underscore with the name keyword, or to specify it clearly you can use first name, last name, okay, like so. So it will more clearly specify like what values they are holding. Okay, so in first name you will easily get to know like there is a first name stored in this particular variable. In the last name you easily get to know like there is a last name of any person stored in this particular variable. So your variables should be more specific to the values whatever you are going to store them in them. Okay, so that you can easily understand what values these variables are holding. So these are the most important and fundamental part of JavaScript. So make sure you have understand it 100% before moving on to the next lecture. Okay, so see you in the next lecture.